The turnout at Trump's new rally, the first one since COVID hit, the turnout was abysmal. And so there are a few reasons for that, but here's the funniest one. Teenage TikTok users and K-pop fans claim to have registered potentially hundreds of thousands of tickets for President Trump's campaign rally as a prank to ruin the event. So you had one of Trump's top campaign advisors, or campaign, might even been the head guy in his campaign. I'm not sure. Something Parscale, Brad Parscale or something like that. He's a top guy in Trump's campaign. And he was tweeting about this days before that they were like, we have 1 million people saying they want tickets to our rally. It's going to be amazing. Incredible. And so there's a lot of talk about that. So what they did is they had this big arena, and then outside of it, they had this overflow area where it almost looked like, when there's like a concert outside and they got the big stage and they got the banner over their head and stuff. They set up all this for Trump because he was going to talk to the crowd indoors and then, say some words outside as well to the overflow crowd, because they were expecting, I would say at the very least 100,000 people to show up, because they really thought that up to 1 million people were requesting tickets. And online they were saying, and it was all teens and K-pop fans. They were basically saying we want to RSVP for this event. I don't think they didn't buy the tickets, I don't think, but they were just saying, hey, we want to come to the event. And then there were, they would give them, I think, their names and their emails so that they could get on the email list so Trump could then solicit them for donations. This is how that game works. But they really thought that at least 100,000 people would show up. Brad Parscale thought up to 1 million. You want to know what the actual number was? This is according to the Tulsa Fire Department. 6,200 people. Now listen, the response to this is a fair one. When the right-wingers say, yeah, but Biden can't fill a gymnasium. Totally true. More than happy to admit that. I've seen it with my own eyes, okay? Here's the problem with that, though. You know who had gigantic packed crowds? Bernie Sanders. You know what happened in that primary? Biden walloped him. Okay, so perhaps it is true that the size of the crowds are not necessarily a reflection of how people are going to vote, because there are plenty of people who are unenthusiastic about Biden who are 100% going to vote for Biden. So now, listen, we could have the deeper conversation. Is it possible there was a lot of messing around, maybe some stealing here and there, some vote changing or whatever it may be? I don't trust American elections, as I'm sure you don't trust American elections. I mean, for Christ's sake, we have private companies that, create the voting machines in some states, and then we're supposed to trust a private company that has donors from, various political factions. We're supposed to trust the system that gave us the Mayor Pete app that was used in Iowa, and Iowa was a clear example of they verified the wrong results. I'm not saying it's all on the up and up, who knows? I'm more than happy to say I'm agnostic. We have a lot of problems we need to fix, but I'm agnostic on the overall, trends. But listen, bottom line is the official results are what they are. And you do have a situation where Trump gets bigger crowds, but Biden could still get more votes. And the polls are showing right now that he's up quite a bit, way more than Hillary was up. So you have to keep that in perspective. So they had to break down there was nobody that was in the overflow area. They started breaking down the overflow area before Trump's rally even started. So, guys, they really planned to have at least 100,000 people show up, and 6,200 people showed up. And now, so you could say, hey, it's a lot of that's the teens and the K-pop fans, but I also do think it's fair to say it's not just them, although credit to them, and that was a nice little trolling move that they did there. I also do think that there's a decent number of Trump supporters who are not as anti-science as some of the most ardent Trump supporters, and they really thought COVID is still a problem. They just had Oklahoma just hit their record number of COVID cases the day before the rally. So it's there's definitely, COVID is definitely gonna, get passed around at that rally, without a doubt. I have no doubt about it, and I'll give you another story on that later. But, so I do think that there are plenty of Trump supporters who fear COVID, and they're no, I'm not gonna go, even though I want to go, because I don't think it's safe. So, You could say it's partly COVID. You could say it's the TikTok teens and the K-pop fans. And then also, yes, I do think it is fair to say there is less enthusiasm for him this time around than there was in 2016, because in 2016, he was out there hammering Hillary Clinton on corruption, hammering her on the Iraq war, hammering her on NAFTA and outsourcing jobs, and his campaign was a lot more of seemed like a anti-establishment outsider campaign. Now, he also, of course, he's Trump, so of course he throws in the bigotry and, Mexicans are criminals and rapists, and we got to ban the Muslims, and so he's got that too, but there was more of an outsider element. Whereas this time, his whole thing is, I'm going to pretend like Biden is Antifa, isn't the stock market awesome, and let me lean into the culture war and bitch about statues for about an hour. And that's just not as potent. That's not going to work. And this is what Trump has been doing a lot recently on Twitter, and he's too lost in the dumb stuff to navigate his way back to, oh my God, we have 20% actual unemployment. Oh my God, we still have a pandemic ripping through the country. We should probably do something about this. All like the serious issues are on the back burner. And people know that. Even former Trump supporters are like, wow, the serious issues are on the back burner. That's not okay. So the chickens are coming home to roost, man. Make no mistake about it. Biden right now is a big favorite. And if you don't believe that, you're just a hardcore poll denier. Understand something. Even though Trump won in 2016, the polls were not that off, because Hillary won the popular vote by about 3 million votes. What do the polls have Hillary up? 2 to 4%. And she had more votes by 3 million. The reason why Trump won is because he picked off the votes he needed in the proper areas in the Rust Belt, because he was campaigning there nonstop leading up to the election, and he was talking about the trade deals. So he ran a good strategic campaign in the right places. And of course, Hillary was overconfident, and you had that whole mess. This time, Biden's leading in all those swing states. He's leading in all of them. So he's in trouble, man. He's in trouble. And they could keep denying that and saying that everybody who makes that point is fake news, but all right, dude, good luck then.